All right, let's dive into one of the most fundamental skills for any React developer, handling user input. Making forms actually work. We're going to break it down and make it super simple. Have you ever stopped to think about that? It's like a tiny bit of magic, right? You start typing into a form, and the website just seems to know what you're putting in, character by character. Well, it's not magic. It's just a really clever process, and we're going to pull back the curtain on it.
And this is a huge deal because, let's be honest, forms are everywhere. Think about it. Logging in, searching for a video, signing up for a newsletter, buying pretty much anything online. It all starts with a form. Mastering this in React, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
So, what's the secret? How does React handle this? Well, it all comes down to one core idea: controlled components. This is what people mean when they talk about the React way of doing forms. It's a design pattern that makes everything way more predictable and a whole lot easier to manage.
Okay, so what is a controlled component? Simply put, it's a form input where React state is in charge. The input element itself doesn't have a say anymore. Instead, our component state becomes the one and only single source of truth. Everything the user sees in that input is dictated by state. This gives us, the developers, complete control.
To make this stick, let's use an analogy. Just think of your React state as the form's brain. It's the central command center for all the information.
And this brain is smart. It listens to every single keystroke, remembers exactly what the user typed, and then tells the input field, hey, this is what you should be displaying. This creates this perfect continuous loop of information. User types, brain remembers, brain tells the screen what to show.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually build something. We're going to put that brain to work and see this data loop in action with a really simple form.
The whole thing is basically a four-step recipe. First, we need to give our component a memory using useState. Then, we actually put the input field on the screen. Step 3 is connecting that memory to the input. And finally, Step 4 is telling the input how to talk back to the memory. Let's walk through it.
Step 1. Use state. With this one line, we're basically telling React, hey, create a piece of memory for me. I'm going to call it name. We started off with an empty string because, well, when the page first loads, the user hasn't typed anything yet. This is our brain starting point. Now for the next crucial part. In our JSX, we create the input. And here's the first half of that loop we talked about. We set the input's value prop directly to our name state. This forges a direct link. The input is now basically a puppet, and our state is pulling the strings. It can only display what the name state tells it to. And here's how we complete this circle. The onChange event is the listener. It fires up on every single keystroke, and each time it fires, we grab the new value from the input and use our nameSet function to update the state. The state updates, React re-renders the component, the input gets the new value from state, and the whole loop is complete, all in a fraction of a second.
Okay, that's great for one input field. But let's be real. Most forms are more complicated than that. So how do we handle a bunch of fields without our code becoming a huge, repetitive mess?
Yeah, seriously. Think about a full contact form. You've got name, email, maybe a phone number, a message box. Are we really going to create a different use state and a different handler function for every single one of those? No way. That would be a maintenance nightmare. There has to be a smarter way to do this.
And of course there is. The first move is to upgrade our state. Instead of just storing a single string, we're now going to use useState to hold an entire object. This one object will be the container for all our form's data. Each key in the object will correspond to one of our input fields.
And with our new state structure, we can now create the ultimate solution. One single dynamic event handler. A function that's smart enough to know which input is being changed and how to update the right piece of state accordingly. One handler to rule them all.
Okay, lean in, because this right here is the magic trick. This one line makes it all possible. We give each of our HTML inputs a name attribute that perfectly matches a key in our state object. Then, inside our handler, we use this cool JavaScript syntax, the square brackets, to dynamically target which key to update. So, if the user types in the input with name equals email, this line knows to update the email key in our state. It's incredibly clean and scalable.
But hold on, there is one more crucial ingredient: the secret sauce. When you update state in React, you replace the old state completely. So if we only updated the email field, the name we typed in earlier would just vanish. To fix that, we use the spread syntax, those 3 little dots, to first make a copy of the entire old state object, and then we overwrite just the one field that changed. It's our safety net to make sure we never lose data.
And just like that, you've got a new React superpower. You now know the fundamental, scalable, and professional way to handle forms of any complexity. So let's do a quick recap of what you just learned. Here's your cheat sheet. When you need to handle a whole form, your go-to move is useState with an object. To handle all the updates, you just need one dynamic onChange handler that uses the input's name attribute. That's it. That's the whole pattern.
If you walk away remembering just one thing, let it be this. When you think forms in React, your brain should immediately think useState plus onChange. It's that beautiful partnership. State holds the data, and onChange updates it. Simple as that.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint for one of the most essential tasks in all of web development. You've got the pattern, you've got the superpower, so the only real question left is what's the first thing you're going to build with it?